Okay, so now we're going to transition into more of a business focus and thinking about, as a business, you're considering building a website, having a web presence for your business. We're going to talk about what should be in a website, how to optimize that website's performance, so to best serve you and your clients' needs through the internet, and how can a website and social media complement each other. So in defining a website, first thing we want to do is look at the website's objectives. Do we want to inform? Do we want to sell a product or service? Do we want an online storefront? Do you want a website to generate leads, to expand your exposure? For the sake of discussion, we're going to assume that your website objective is to sell a product or service. Creating the site map is, what does the site need to look like? How can it be designed? And then get it out there. In order to get it out there, you need to register a domain name. In choosing a domain name, a .com is the most standard and well-recognized site to go for business. But .biz, .info, and .org are also used. In choosing a domain name, you want to keep it short. You want to make it easy to remember. You don't want people wondering, where was that place that I went online to buy that cool t-shirt? Or that nifty widget? Or where did I get that information? If someone has to spell out your website, don't use it. Use something simple. You want to register your domain name so that it belongs to you. It's kind of like a trademark for your business name. In most states, you register your business under a business name, and that business name is yours. Well, it's the same thing about a website. You want to register that domain name. There are a number of online sources that you can go to. GoDaddy, 1&1, Namecheap, and Dotster are just some examples that I was able to find. It's important to register your own name and not register through a web hosting service, because then they own that name. And if you end up having challenges or frustrations with that service, then they own your name and you start all over again. The basic website design has a header. You want your contact information to be in that header, or a Contact Us tab. If people have to search around and find how to find you, or ask questions, or get more information, chances are they're going to move on to another website. So the longer that you can keep them at your website, the chances are greater that you're going to make a sale. If you are trying to sell a product, have a shopping cart. Have something that identifies for the user to be able to make an action that is to buy your product. The body of your website can have some basic information, but the more clear and simple, the better. A business that wants to sell a product online, a good website calls to action. It drives people to make that purchase. It enables action within 3 clicks. It encourages visitors to take the next step. And more, it is navigable on a mobile device. People are using tablets, telephones, as mini computers. We give you a couple of tools here where you can test your website to see how it functions on a mobile device. Compatibility on mobile devices is going to become more and more important. The website header is the introduction to your site. It's the about you. It's the contact information. It has your shopping cart. The example I use here is LL Bean. Well-established online business place. They have a shopping bag. It's right there up in front. They clearly identify the different types of product that you can buy from them. The header has their phone number. It has a customer service connection. You can find a store, buy gift cards. They make it simple for you to spend your money in their website. In a purchase, you want to search for a desired item. In your second step, you want to review the selection that's available to you. In the third click, you can select size and add to cart. In 3 clicks, you can identify the product, select the product, specifically size it, and colors, shapes that you want, and add it to your cart and be on your way to purchasing that item. Amazon has perfected the 3-click to purchase process. You and your website can emulate that. We need to make sure that our websites are optimized for search engines. Search engines read words and not photos. You see a lot of photographs on websites, and a lot of information that's relayed through pictures. But in order to be searched, the search engines are looking for words. You want to use descriptive, simple words, and words that are specific about your product or service that you offer. You can use a Google Analytics tool to search words, demographic, and look at traffic analyses on your website. You want to update your words in your website that describe you and what you offer on a regular basis, because if you don't have a lot of activity, your optimization is going to drop out. You want to be unique. What's special about you? This is your opportunity to tell your story in your words about your product or service. When thinking about linking social media and websites, the whole purpose is to drive customers to subscribe or purchase your service or product. Facebook has trillions and trillions of pages. You want to establish a business page or a profile. Use your logo from your website. Be consistency. Use social media as a portal to your website. Social media can drive viewers to your website where they can then make the purchase. Social media is a great place for where you can place those photos. You want to make sure that you're responsive to both positive and negative comments on social media. You want to be the expert. Use social media to share interesting facts, not just information about your product and/or service. One of the important things, though, in social media is to make sure you have rules of engagement. Negative comments are going to happen. How are you going to handle them? You don't want to be evasive, but you want to be consistent, and you want to make sure that you're responsive in both positive and negative situations. On Google, you can find your business. If you Google your business name and you find a photograph, some basic information, and a map, you're in the system. You want to make sure that you claim your business so that you can then edit the photograph, put in more specific directions. Use a clear description so that if someone Googles a business like yours and yours pops up, it's specific and related and in your words about what your product or service is. And most importantly, make sure the information on that Google Business tab is accurate. Now that you're on the internet, cybersecurity is a topic that is exploding right now. It's all about protecting your digital content. We're going to talk about some tips for smart computing practices. We're going to talk about firewalls, what they are and why you should have them, and how you need to think about managing access to data. Network security is all about creating a wall or a barrier between your private network and the public network. We've talked about the cloud. The cloud is a big space. It's a lot of big buildings with a lot of servers inside them is what they are. They're buildings. Buildings can be compromised. By creating a firewall, you can protect your private network. You want to secure it from interference. You want to secure from possible entry or points of attack by hackers. You want to stop unauthorized users. And you want to detect whether or not someone is trying to get into your network system. And this is all actions that firewalls can do. Once you're out there on the internet, you are out there. Chances are you are never going to be 100% protected. There's no way to fully secure a network. But what you can do is make it harder for the bad guys that are interested in coming in and getting your information, penetrating your data space by installing firewalls, by making sure that your anti-spam, antivirus tools and the software in your computer are updated regularly. You can train your employees on safe practices. You can create and maintain a disaster recovery plan for your data. Antiviruses and firewalls, they're two different things. Antiviruses are softwares that work within your computer system and in your data to protect you from that invasion of viruses. A firewall is a hardware. It's a piece of equipment. It can be the router which then enables wireless connectivity through your home. Those act as a firewall. Don't leave the admin word names set by the factory. Set them up where you have a specific username and a password. Most antivirus programs come loaded with some kind of firewall. Don't disable them. Don't disable the antiviruses or the protection services that come on your computer. One of the best things that we can do as individuals, whether we are grandma who wants to just play with social media to stay in touch with her family across the country, or whether it's the business executive that has hundreds of employees, one of the easiest and most successful ways that we can begin to protect our data in our cyberspace is by the use of good passwords, and not use the same password for all of your uses. A password with 9 characters, from what I understand, cannot be hacked. If you use a standard format with a password that then has random numbers, if you change the random numbers and keep your standard format, an example would be a capital C, number 3, the star, a word like today, and then a set of numbers. All I have to do is juggle up those numbers, and I can remember by typing with muscle memory the gist of the password and refresh those numbers. If it's too hard and I have to write it down on a sticky note and keep it under my computer or in the drawer next to me, then it's not a password. It's not secure anymore because I can't remember it, and it's easily found by a potential intruder. Don't leave your passwords on sticky notes under your computer. Make them easy enough that you can remember, but just long enough so that hackers can't get into them. If you have employees or even family members, talk about cybersecurity. Have a policy of cybersecurity. Having policies, practices that allow regular virus updates and virus scans, that enable antivirus program software updates, that don't leave passwords on sticky notes, that don't allow other family members to use work computers. Even thumb drives can transfer viruses. Opening attachments without thinking. These are all ways that you are putting your cybersecurity at risk, and they can easily be managed by practices and/or policies to establish safe cybersecurity processes and computer use in your home and workplace. And as a tip, most software updates across the internet are done on the second Tuesday of the month. So leave your computer on so that those updates are regularly occurring and you don't have to think about them. You just let them happen. So what is a disaster recovery plan? What is a disaster? When your computer blinks out and you think you've lost all of your data, and chances are you have, if there's something wrong with your hard drive. There are external hard drives that should be part of any person's disaster recovery plan related to data. Make more than one copy. Store them in different locations. Make regular updates to your backups. Having a disaster recovery plan is critical, whether it be for personal use or business use. Having a backup of your data is the only thing that's going to save you on one of those days where you go and sit down at your computer and it bleeps out on you and everything's gone. Your hard drive is fried. There are several commercially available external hard drives. They're not very expensive, and they can save you peace of mind knowing that your data is going to be available. Establish a policy that enables users in your systems to do regular backups. Have more than one backup device and keep them in separate locations. Layering security through the development of policies and practices is some of the best ways to protect your data. Your data is the bullseye of the target, and there are people out there that want it. More and more we're using online tools. Everything is out there. Our banking, credit information. It's crazy how much information we are willing to share now, and millennials and next generation folks are using it more and more and are willing to share more and more information than those of us in the baby boomer generation, for sure. Having tools and practices available and implementing them is key to protecting your data. So we've talked about what broadband is, how to evaluate what you need based on the uses that you have, how to learn and evaluate what services are available in your community and to compare them. We talked about using the web as a tool to generate business and optimizing your presence in the web, and using social media, again, to drive your level of expertise up, your credibility, and bring people to your website where they can purchase. And most importantly, we talked about the importance of securing your data, because whether it's you, your grandma, your kids, or your business, protecting your data with activities like passwords, maintaining antivirus, malware, and spyware upgrades and protections will give you lasting peace of mind. So for additional information and resources, Federal Communications Commission has a lot of information on internet connectivity, the broadband nutrition label, and fast facts. In addition, the U.S. Department of Commerce, National Telecommunications and Information Administration has planning tools for communities that are looking at enhancing their broadband capabilities. And lastly, but certainly not least, you should communicate and let your issues and frustrations be known to your local economic development group, because I'm sure that they would be more than happy to help guide you in the direction to find information and resources to help bolster connectivity in your community.